time, and we had about 4 flights of stairs at our apartment complex. I just went to the grocery store, and so I got out the car, I had my grocery bags, and you know, I walked up the stairs, and I went and put the grocery bags down. My mother, guys, was also walking up the stairs. We had rails right here, if you guys can imagine with me. We had rails here, we had steps here, and my mother, every step, she was short-winded, she was breathing hard, and she was short-winded. Now, I came down from the top of the staircase. I said, Mom, I said, is everything okay? She said, I'm fine. Now, my mother is one of those type of mothers, Key Club, that she doesn't tell her kids much because she doesn't want us to worry. You guys have parents like that? Well, that's my mother. She doesn't really tell you anything until she wants you to know about it, right? But here's the deal, guys. About 2 years after that, my mother went to the doctor, and now they had diagnosed my mom with a terminal lung disease. Family totally devastated. Family totally heartbroken, totally devastated, because my mom is 47 years young now. Never smoked a day in her life. Does right by people, but here she is dealing with this lung disease. And there was never a day, Key Club, that I didn't have to go, that I went to visit my mom, that my mom did not have to be on oxygen. If my mother was at home, she had an oxygen tank, guys, that sat higher than this podium right here. It was about that tall, and it had long tubes that went inside her nose so she can breathe. If my mother was traveling, Key Club, she had a portable oxygen tank that she would take with her, out with her, and it had these long tubes that went inside her nose so she can breathe. There was never a day my mother did not have to be on oxygen. But I can recall, my mother got put on a waiting list for a lung transplant. Everybody say it's possible?
It's possible.
My mother got put on a waiting list for a lung transplant. And they gave my mother a buzzard, guys. Now what happens with the buzzard is, when the buzzer goes off, that means they found a match. You got to get to the hospital because now it's time to have your surgery, right? So one day, Key Club, the buzzer went off. Everybody was all excited, got my mom to the car, took her to the hospital. It was a false alarm. The lungs they had for my mom, they just didn't make it. Everybody was all down, depressed, despondent, quiet, just like this. But my mother, guys, as she whispered, she said, I still believe that it's possible. I still believe that it's possible for me to live. I still believe that this is not the end for my life. I still believe I'm going to be able to see my grandkids run around. I still believe that I'm going to be able to see my son travel across the country and empower student leaders just like yourselves. And I can recall, guys, there was never a day that I went to my mom's house that she did not have to be on oxygen. It had gotten so bad to where my mother had 19% use of one lung. The other lung was totally collapsed. She was living on 19% use of one lung. It had gotten so bad to where my mother was so weak to where she couldn't even move anymore. I can recall, guys, my mother had a huge dent in her couch because that's where she sat all day long. But there was never a day that I would go to my mom's house. My mother had affirmations all over her home. Let me see this paper right here for you. My mother had papers just like this, big 8.5 by whatever this is, on her wall, in the kitchen, on the refrigerator, on the cabinet, in the bathroom, in the car, everywhere, in her home, everywhere she went. And it simply read this. It said, I will survive, I will survive, I will survive, I will survive. I will make it, I will make it, I will make it, I will make it. I'm gonna beat it, I'm gonna beat it, I'm gonna beat it, I'm gonna beat it. Every day my mother read those affirmations to herself every day, Key Club, to where she was weak physically, but she was strong on the inside. And let me just pause parenthetically to mention this. Your words are powerful. What you speak is what you get. When I'm in middle schools and high schools and I'm talking about developing yourself because nothing will improve until you do, listen, guys, your life will never go to the next level until you go to the next level. That's why I talked about self-education. But when I go in and I talk about how to develop yourself, my number one point I always tell young people is you gotta see it. You gotta have a vision. And then my second point is you gotta elevate your words, man. You gotta speak positive words to yourself. Because guess what? If you don't speak it to yourself, how can you expect somebody else to? The words you speak to yourself are powerful. I really believe that if my mother did not speak those words every day, my mother wouldn't be here today. The words you speak are powerful, man. What you say to yourself matters. Listen, guys, as leaders, what you say to yourself matters. And so as you move forward, I want to encourage you to speak the words that you want. And also be cognizant of the words you speak to other people, because we take those words and we make it our own. But my mother understood the power of words, and that's why I believe she's here today, guys. But every day my mother would read those affirmations to herself every single day. And about 6 months later, my mother got the buzzer again, Key Club. They got her to the car, took her to the hospital, and my mother, at 50 years young, my mother had that surgery. That's where you clap. 18-year-old female lost her life in a car accident, and she donated her lungs to my mom. So, Key Club, when I say it's possible, I mean it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Now listen, I'm not saying that you can do it, I'm saying it's possible that you could do it. Does that make sense? Listen, I don't want to stamp you and say you're going to absolutely make it. Because life is filled with too many variables, right? Life is going to happen to you, right? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I can't say that you're going to absolutely get to your final destination, but it's possible to. Every day when I wake up in the morning, I just say, you know what, Q? It's possible, man. Like, I don't know if I can really do that, but it's possible. I don't know if I can really write a book, man, because where I come from, it doesn't say that I can do that. But you know what? If I just say it's possible, man, you know what? Somebody else did it, so why can't I? Listen, guys, listen. That has to be the determining factor for you. If somebody else did it, Maria, guess what? Why can't you? Right? Tucker, listen. If somebody else did it, why can't you? Right? That's gotta be your attitude. I can't. Right? Listen, guys, if somebody else did it, why can't you? And so every day when I wake up in the morning, guys, that's my attitude, man. If somebody else did it, guess what? I can do it too. That's the attitude we gotta have moving forward, guys. And so when I